Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rock M Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst. This is Before the Box Score, your Portal Sadness edition. I'm just going to get it all over with, talk about all the losses, talk about the upcoming NFL draft, which is happening. That might be some happiness, but we'll see. Nathan Hurst, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Well, I'm working on 3 hours of sleep this evening's in the last 48. So if I sound even more incoherent than usual, that's why. So I'll apologize ahead of time there. Don't hold it against me.
Yeah. Okay. Don't fall asleep on the mic. You got roughly 40 minutes to go, and then you can go sleep.
I'm all jacked up on 5-hour energy, so I should be able to at least make it through that.
All right. God be with you. 5-hour energy is going with you too. So let's jump into it. Spring portal season is upon us. It is open. It is from what I saw a stat that there's enough guys to field 7 full football teams that are in the portal right now. That's a lot, in case you're wondering. But that's the magic of the college football world that we live in now. And Missouri is certainly not immune to portal losses. And they're probably not going to be immune to portal additions too. But with the first opening up, there's just been a lot of attrition that's happening. So let's go through it. I think I can do this in order. So far, we have in the spring era, I should specify. In spring, Missouri has lost the services of Jamarian Wang, the 4-star athlete from St. Louis. Mekhi Gbadner, who came in from Nebraska and then promptly left because Tristan Newsom. And then we got Taylon Chandler and Bryce Jackson, if you want to count the walk-on running back. And then Eddie Kelly and Joe Moore. And recently, Brett Brown, the walk-on quarterback. Again, if we're counting walk-ons, we're going to throw that one in there too. So, Hurst, this is a lot of losses. I got a fun chart that we can pull up so you can just keep track of what's going on. Look at that. For all of you who are only listening, you're missing out on a beautiful chart. But these are the losses that we have so far for the 2024-2025 transfer portal. Currently, 18 guys are in the portal. 6 have transferred laterally. 4 have transferred down. And then, of course, 8 are still in the portal. So, Nathan Hurst, what do we make of all this? What do we think about all these guys leaving?
I mean, it's par for the course, I think, when you look across the country. I will say, when adding in the losses in the winter portal season as well, definitely the I think most active loss portal transfer cycle that we've had in terms of guys that you could see contributing next year leaving. Now, were any of the guys top to bottom guaranteed starters next year? Not necessarily. Maybe Kewan Lacey, maybe. Yeah. Certainly some guys were gonna contribute though. You look at a Williams Nwaneri, you would expect him to contribute. Jalen Brown, Mekhi Miller, the recently arrived and departed Mekhi Bayor, excuse me. That's another guy that you would have seen contributing. But I'm not sure any of those guys would have been the opening day right on the top line of the depth chart starter. So it's not like it's a devastating portal class by any means, but it's definitely a lot more guys that we're going to see the field than we've seen in recent years.
Yeah, it's loss of depth, and this is why the SEC, in particular schools like Georgia and Alabama, have been so good for so long. They would just hoard talent. They'd get some kid to commit out of high school. That kid could not leave. Or reasonably leave. And so they'd have all these 4- and 5-star kids on there who just had to wait their turn and bide their time and eventually start for a year or maybe 2 years and then ship off to the NFL or go do something else. And so it's not true for them anymore, and it's certainly not going to be true for any school that's lower than that. I mean, you look at the losses that we have. The winter portal was a lot crueler than I think the spring one is so far. Kewan Lacey, Courtney Crutchfield, Williams Nwaneri, Jalen Brown, Jaron Sensabaugh. What do those guys all have in common? Highly rated super young. Would have been red shirts this year, like in their second year, and all of them left. Mekhi Miller needed a restart. Brayshawn Littlejohn wanted to follow his linebackers coach to App State. Like, these all make sense, but that was tough. Again, like you said, not starters, but potential starters down the line, and they wanted to start sooner, and they had an offer from somewhere else. Well, also to your point, it's a depth hit. now, because now you've gone through spring ball. Guys kind of figure out where they're shaking out on the depth chart, and if they don't like it or if they don't want to stick around and make it better, they're going to go somewhere else. And don't think of this purely just from an internal locus of control. Keep in mind that a lot of these guys are getting blown up by coaches all over the country. Say, "Hey, I don't see you starting," or like, "Hey, you cracked the 2 deep yet?" And they're just chirp, 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 and trying to get him to leave. And that's just kind of how it works. So some of these guys might be impatient. That might be the label that you throw on them. Other guys might be actually getting promised something better somewhere else, a chance to start, and maybe an increase in NIL funds. So however they do it, that's what they're going to do. But I would say, like, losing, I still don't think Joe Moore has any eligibility left, but whatever. Losing like an Eddie Kelly, Ja'Kai Lane, Philip Roche, Jamarian Wayne. These are guys with like, hey, yeah, still a couple more years, but you can do it. And they wanted to do it somewhere else, and that's fine. So it sucks to see him go, but you weren't going to miss him this year. Let's put it that way. Right.
Well, I mean, talking about Ja'Kai Lang and Eddie Kelly, those are 2 more guys that are going to see the field. They saw the field plenty last year. Neither of them started, and neither with the talent on the defensive end that this roster has, they weren't going to start this year either. But they were definitely going to see the field. But as for Eddie Kelly, probably the 4th guy in the rotation, and for Lang, the 5th or 6th, they weren't going to see it a ton. And who knows what Javion Hilson looks like coming in, 5-star incoming freshman as well. So they're going to be felt, though, because you've said it multiple times. Depth. It makes the transfer portal makes it almost impossible for a program like Mizzou to really lock down significant depth in any position, let alone throughout the whole program. Now, was Mizzou ever one of the top 10 deepest teams in the country? No, definitely not. But it makes it even that much harder when players can hop up and leave once or twice a year, when they realize that they're not going to be a starter and they can move on somewhere else. And that's probably good for them in a lot of cases, probably not every case, but a lot of cases. But it makes it real tough for a program of Mizzou's stature to build. Now, you can certainly have top-end talent, and Mizzou does have top-end talent on the roster. But I think this is kind of a trend that we might see a lot more in these kind of second-tier Power 4 programs, kind of a stars and scrubs approach, where you've got top line, a lot of really good players that are going to play a lot, and then below that, it's a lot of freshmen, a lot of unproven freshmen, or guys that just they don't want to leave because they know they're taking a step down, and maybe they don't want to do that, so they're going to stick around. And I think it's going to it might pull farther and farther away from the top end Georgias and Ohio States and Alabamas that can afford to pay for depth more so than Mizzou can.
No, yeah, it's the middle classes, like you said, 2nd, 3rd, 4th years. That's where you're going to see the squeeze. And like right now, Missouri has 17 4th years, 22 3rd years, 15 2nd years, and 17 1st years. So not counting like the graduates, like the 2nd year players is the lowest amount of players that Missouri currently has on their roster. But I wanted to bring this up. This is the defensive end depth projected depth chart, or at least the players that I would think would be seeing rotation on there. So at the top, you got Zion Young, who started every game last year. You have Darius Smith, who probably would have started every single game last year if he was not injured. Then behind them, you brought in Nate Johnson specifically from App State to back up Zion Young. You brought in Damon Wilson to be another havoc distributor alongside his former Georgia brethren. And then you have Javion Hilson. And then you have Langdon Kitchen, who came up from Northwest Missouri State. You can't even see on here, Dayton Hopkins, right? 4-star, the Wine Country Warhammer from Herman, Missouri. He's in there too. I'm not saying he's going to start, but is Eddie Kelly the 4th best defensive end on here? Is Ja'Kai Lane the 4th best defensive end on here? You got to ask Nate Johnson, the guy that they specifically brought in. And if you saw what he could do in spring, or you saw kind of how the rotations fell out in spring, and neither Ja'Kai nor Eddie were going to be seeing the same kind of rotations that they saw last year. Like, I get it, but I think you look at this position group, and this is why Eli Drinkwitz thinks it's the most talented roster that he's had since he got here. Stuff like that. Or you could look at the safeties, or you look at the linebackers, or anything like that. It's just, there's a lot of love in the defensive side, and you've seen a lot of defensive departures because they go, oh crap, we upgraded big time. And I think it's just kind of pushing a lot of those guys out. And or, whatever the reason why. But Missouri's good on defensive end, and I'm sad that they won't be able to finish their careers here, but like, you get it.
And I think the staff has appeared to be pretty honest with its roster in terms of where guys stand, at least on the defensive side of the ball. In terms of here's where you are. We'd love to have you, Eddie Kelly, but you're number 4, you're number 5 on the list right now. You're going to get on the field, but we can't promise you, more than 10, 15 snaps a game as the way it currently has. So please stick around. We'd love to have you here, but this is what it is. So if you feel compelled to move on, no shame in that, no hard feelings, go with God kind of a thing. And that kind of seems like, at least on the defensive side of the ball, and probably across the board, that seems to be the way they approach it, which you can, I can respect a lot, for sure, though it may make it harder to hold on to guys and build the depth that really is required to have, success in the SEC at the highest level.
Yeah. So best of luck to those guys. Hopefully they find a good home. Obviously, Micaiah has already found one with North Carolina. That was, I think it's confirmed a couple of hours ago. So I mean, for him that sucks, right? Because we all thought Tristan Newsom was gone, and then the law stated that JUCOs can get an extra year. It's like, oh, okay, well, there you go. So yeah, best of luck. Hopefully they find a spot.
It also seems like, looking at some of the comments that Drinkwitz has made coming out of spring practice, it looked like Nick Rodriguez was one of the top performers, at least in his mind, through on the whole defense. And so that's yet another guy that, competing for a linebacker spot that maybe Bayer didn't necessarily see on the radar when he committed to Mizzou. Not only Newsom, but then Nick Rodriguez showing out. And that's a guy, if they're even close to having the same, being on the same level this year, Rodriguez with 3 years of eligibility left, he's going to get the reps, not the guy with 1 year of eligibility left. The guy with 3 years and, a future star potentially, or you're hoping at least he turns into that. They're going to err on the side of the younger guy that has a higher ceiling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So along the lines of portal, but vis-a-vis high school recruiting, Nathan Hurst, have you heard of a little guy, or I guess a giant guy named Jackson Cantwell? Yeah, kind of feel like we've all heard of that one.
His name has come up a time or two.
Yeah.
Not only his name, but his family's name has been around the Mizzou halls for a long time.
For sure. Yeah, Dad was a Olympian in the track and field, and of course, Jackson is a homegrown product. Top offensive lineman in the country by some metrics. Certainly one of the most in demand. And he whittled his recruiting list. You know how they do it now. You go from 20 to like 15 to 10 to 5 to 4. Well, he took it down to 4, and oops, no Mizzou. Not there. I guess it sounds like the Missouri staff had been a little more concerned over the past couple of weeks over their chances of sticking with this kid. And here you go. He's not including Missouri in his Final Four. And for all intents and purposes, that means he is not going to be committing to Missouri coming out of high school. I have been pleasantly surprised around most of the discourse around this. I will go into that later, but Hurst, I want to hear your thoughts first. Jackson Cantwell, no Mizzou in the top 4. How do you feel about this?
Disappointing. I mean, in some way, I kind of respect his honesty and not, throwing in the hometown team just as a courtesy. I'd rather, tell me right off the bat, so I'm not sitting there waiting on the hat ceremony, hoping when there's absolutely, no chance that it happens. Disappointed because you anytime you've got a 5-star legacy in your own state, you would very much like to get that guy. That said, looking at the list of teams that did make his Final Four, I mean, those are the heavy hitters, and not only in terms of blue bloods on the field, but NIL off the field as well. So if you're losing out to the program, the tippy top programs, your Georgia, Oregon, Miami, those schools throw a lot of money around. And could Mizzou have competed at the top end if they wanted to go all in and throw as much money as they had in their bank account? If Eli Drinkwitz wanted to break that piggy bank and throw it all at Jackson Cantwell, could they have gotten there? Probably. They probably could have. But kind of thinking about, positions and position value. Left tackle, very high value. But do you want to throw all your money at offensive linemen coming out of high school when we have very, very clear memories of another 5-star guy coming out of the state just a year ago, threw a lot of money at him, and where are we now? He's no longer on the roster. So I kind of would much rather take the conservative approach with a guy like this. Hold off, let someone else throw a ton of money at him his freshman year when he's probably not going to see the field, no matter where he goes, unless there's injuries. Even if he came to Mizzou, it'd be kind of doubtful he's going to start from day one because other than the guy that you're showing on the screen right now, Caden Green, true freshmen don't start on Power 4 rosters on offensive line very often. So let's let someone else pay him a whole lot of money to sit on the bench for a year, and by the time he's ready, okay, maybe he sticks around where he is. Maybe he gets homesick. Maybe he has a change of heart. Maybe some coach that he commits to gets fired. You never know. Then you can, come on home to Papa. We've still got that money waiting for you when you're a little more developed and have 2 years instead of 2 years left of your eligibility, a little more developed. And if it never happens, that would suck. But that's also that's how this thing goes. So disappointing. But I'd rather them take this tack than throw. I don't even want to guess how much money at him. In the 7-figure range at a offensive lineman that we still don't really know. He's 18 years old, so we don't really know what he's going to turn into.
Yeah. What do I say about high school recruiting? You can't get them out of high school, get them out of the portal. And if all these kids are leaving, if they got bugs in their ears and people are making offers and they're hopping around, or like the old way, like when your coach gets fired or canned or goes somewhere else, get them on the way back. I think Caden Green is a perfect example, and this is why I'm not sweating it. Caden Green, did he have Missouri in his final whatever? I don't even remember, probably, but he ended up at Oklahoma. And, maybe he was going to start, maybe he didn't, but he ended up starting on a pretty bad Oklahoma offensive line. And then, he came back after a year. One thing that I've spoken about before, and I know BK and I have talked about this in years past, but if you're 18 and you are in such high demand like this, and you're from the state of Missouri, you can always come back to Missouri. You can always do it. Okay. You can't always go to Oregon or Miami or Texas or Alabama or anything like that. That's not always an option. That's not an option for everybody. And so if you got that opportunity to not only take a visit, but potentially check out that school and possibly play for that team, do it. You have an out now. This isn't a 4-year commitment. This is a year-to-year commitment. So much like I encourage kids to take all their visits, if you got an opportunity to go play for Oregon, go do it. See if you can cut it. And if you can't, arms open, baby. As long as you didn't kill somebody or hurt somebody or a sex pest or some weirdo who can't get along with people, like we'll bring you back. You got some talent, we'll bring you back. And hey, if you were making $3 million doing nothing, I'd rather you do that at Oregon than do it here. And maybe your asking price is going to be a little bit lower when you're not in such high demand because no one's got any tape on you on the college level. You never know what that's going to look like. So I'm with you. I am. It's sad because every commitment, every list that has your school on it is a personal statement about you as an individual who either roots for this team or went to the school or both. So if it's a little bit of a ego punch, but I'm really not sweating it. And it seems like most people are not sweating it all that much. And I think that's one of the benefits of the portal era. Just a fun little nugget there. Now, I will not say high school recruiting does not matter anymore. I've had a couple of people send that my way. It matters. On the aggregate, it matters. But on the individual, it does not. And if you miss them now, we'll get them again and keep bringing in great high school classes and supplement with portal pieces. That's what you got to do. So I'm feeling good about it.
In terms of the importance of high school recruiting, I mean, we just talked about how hard it is to build depth in the transfer portal. That's how you build depth, is you recruit well at the high school level, have talented young players that if they have to get called on, they can and can perform. And if they don't turn out to shake out, they can always transfer out and leave, which they often do. But that's the way a program like Mizzou has strong second string, strong third string is to bring in talented young players who hopefully will be patient enough to wait their turn. But if their turn does come and their name is called early on, that they're capable of stepping in and doing it. A guy like Jackson Cantwell, he would be capable to play his freshman year. I would think. I just going to a program like a Georgia, is he going to step in and beat out the other 5-star guys that they're competing right off the bat? Probably not. So they've got that luxury of time and money there. Mizzou doesn't really, so it makes sense in that capacity. In terms of fans being upset or not, it would probably make a little bit of a difference if it was a little bit more of a sexy position that he played.
Sure.
If Luther Burden had scorned Mizzou a second time and recommitted to Oklahoma or wherever else, that would have been a little different, because a wide receiver who is of the caliber of Luther, that's a lot sexier, or a quarterback, or a running back, or even a defensive end like a Waneri. Just something that you could point to a guy on the field and say, "Ooh, I can see what that guy's doing, and it's awesome." And it's not quite as easy to do with an offensive lineman as watching an offensive lineman's huddle tape. A little different, a little less titillating, perhaps, than watching Luther Burden's huddle tape.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the portal sadness roundup. No, but it's okay. We just opened it up. We're going to get some more players, get excited about the new guys, and we'll follow all that on rockmnation.com. There's a little thing called an NFL draft that's happening next week, and you might be aware that there's some former Missouri players who are probably going to get their name called. We're going to do a little quiz about the draft, but before we get there, we want to talk about the present guys, obviously. If you're thinking about this in terms of, who's going to get their name called, who's going to most likely get drafted, I mean, you're looking at two names, really, Luther Burden and Armand Mimbu. Burden, of course, as we talked about, is a 5-star phenom from East St. Louis. Had a tremendous 2023 season, had a disappointing 2024 season, but has all the talent in the world. And of course, Armand Mimbu, who is a 3-star local product, who coaches had to get him on the field his freshman year, and then he held down the right tackle starting spot for 2 years and never let it go until he declared early. These are the guys who are most likely to get drafted in the first round, but there's other guys too. I guess my first question for you, Hurst, is that Burden's draft stock, as with most guys' draft stock over the time, it just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And then really it kind of seems like it's mostly down at this point. How are you feeling about Burden potentially getting drafted in the first round? Is this going to happen or not?
I don't, at this point, it looks unlikely. Now, is it impossible? No, it takes one team to take him. And I've been a little dubious about, all the talk of, him falling down, some, alleged questions of character and things, which are but no real specifics by any means. And no specific incidents to point to that would actually cause that. So it makes me kind of think, is this an NFL team putting out some bad vibes there, hoping that he falls down to them later in the first round. So I would not be shocked by any means if he goes in the first round. If I had to put money on it at this point, probably not. But we're already starting on social media. A lot of these draft experts are already starting to put out, who's going to be a real undervalued guy, Luther Burden. Can he's been valued highly this whole time until just the last couple months. So I don't really know what you're talking about. So even if he ends up going in this early second round, which that's the farthest he's going to fall, he's watching for him to be the guy that's like, oh, this is the steal of the draft. I can't believe he fell this far. Other than, people, these draft experts crapping on him the whole time anyway. So, yeah, he might go. As I said, it takes one team. If the Chiefs wanted to take him at the end of the first round, we get lots of more hilarious. I can't believe they let the Chiefs. They allowed the Chiefs to get a guy like Luther Burden. It's just going to happen. So it could. Will it? Who knows? But it could.
I mean, if you're looking at the receivers that are potentially going to be drafted, Ted McMillan out of Arizona, obviously freak, right? 6'4", 219, has a catch radius the size of a barn. Like you want that kind of guy. That's a receiver that everyone's going to want. And I think right now, at CBS Sports, this is the only receiver with the first round draft ranking. Interesting. So they got Luther Burden 15th as 15th best player overall, second best receiver, and they got him in a high 2 kind of draft area for him. So who knows? I mean, every year there's like some out of nowhere pick that like a small school or like a lineman that somebody falls in love with, and you're like, really? And that just shakes everything up afterwards. So like mock drafts are not real. Nobody has ever gotten this stuff right. It's just fodder to talk about. And yeah, teams just put out the subterfuge to like have people sniff off the trail of what they're looking for. Radio, like this is why it's here, but boy, it does not matter until draft night, and that's when we're going to figure it out. But yeah, and then Armand Mimbu. I mean, being a highly rated offensive lineman it's a very good place to be in the modern NFL, especially if you're a tackle. Yeah, we'll go kind of in some more numbers here, but like, I don't know, is this top 10, top 15 of first round?
It looks like it. I mean, he very well could be the top tackle taken in the draft. If not the top one, he'll most likely be the second. Depends on teams whether or not they value Will Campbell more in his short arms more than Armand Mimbu. Also, the fact that Mimbu's never played left tackle, that doesn't mean he couldn't, but they don't have that proof of concept. And Will Campbell has played a very good version of left tackle in the SEC for many years. So that's going to come down to that. But I think regardless of whether he goes first or second, he'll go in certainly the top 15, but really the top 10, just because I think teams are really, really excited by his athletic prowess, which he showed, the last two or three years, but also in the combine, which is putting up outrageous numbers. If we knew that he could run 4.91, why are we not having him go out for some passes or take some handoffs? That's insane.
Yeah, serious. And outside of that, I mean, you got nominal guys. Like obviously, there's other offensive linemen, maybe a Marcus Bryant or a Cameron Johnson. Obviously, Drake Heismeyer, Mitchell Walters are probably not going to get their name called, but they would be eligible for it. I'm curious, from the running back standpoint, you got Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel, who kind of split their duties, and maybe that's going to be detrimental. But then you got like a Theo Weiss. I mean, Theo Weiss was Missouri's best receiver this year. Now part of that is because Luther was demanding all the damn attention all the time. But like Theo had a very good year. Former 5-star, very, very athletic, good size. Don't really hear much about him. Are we thinking that he's going to get drafted, or is he going to go the undrafted free agent route?
I think he will. I think he's going to end up being the third and last Tiger drafted in this draft. It won't be early. He didn't really impress too much at the combine with his physical traits. I think he was a little injured as well. But a team's going to see the production that he had on the field, the fact that he was the best receiver on the field, at least production-wise this past year. And he'll go, late 5th, 6th round, maybe even the 7th round. But and I think he'll be a steal for whatever team gets him at that point. The running back draft, it's really deep running back draft this year. So I don't think either Carroll or Noel will get called. They'll see, they'll have their name called as a free agent after the fact. But I'm not sure that teams will see them as options when there's 15 other really good running backs this year that they could choose from.
Yeah, no. We shall see next week, and we'll break it down and tell you the best ones we like, the best fits, and all that good stuff. But yeah, back into our little saw puppet voice. I want to play a game, and specifically, I want to put Nathan Hurst on the hot seat and have a little Mizzou football players in the NFL draft quiz. And yeah, we're going to up the difficulty because he's on 3 hours of sleep. So this will be a ton of fun. And I'm not going to be nice either. So like, this is going to be a lot of fun for me. But Hurst, I got 10 questions for you. Now they got multiple parts, and there's no problem with being wrong. This is for everybody. You are our totem. You're going to be the person who's going to be speaking for us. Obviously, if you're listening to your car, you can do that. You can listen to this. You can yell it out with your kids in the background and show them how smart you are. But let's take it from the top. I'm going to do a little question here for you, Nathan Hurst. Question number 1. Oh, this is it's not so hard. This is just going to be a big old softball. Number of Missouri Tigers drafted in the history of the NFL. Go.
Oh my gosh.
Also, if you want multiple choice, I will give you multiple choice.
Give me no. Yeah, give me multiple choice.
Okay.
Give me three options.
We're NFL draft, since the 1930s. Okay. Have Missouri had 171 guys drafted, 200 guys drafted, 231 guys drafted, or 261 guys drafted?
Oh my gosh, all of those numbers are way higher than I thought when I initially thought. So I'm gonna go B, 201 guys drafted.
The answer is C, 231.
Wow, that's insane. That's a ton. That's way more than I would have ever guessed.
Same amount of years of Missouri stunk. Still got 231 guys in there. We'll dive a little bit deeper. As a bonus, and I'll give you multiple choice on this one too. Since 2000, how many Missouri Tigers have been drafted? Your options are A, 47, B, 52, C, 57, or D, 62.
I'm gonna go 52.
Okay, it's 57.
57. Okay.
See, 57.
Yeah, and so weirdly, last even though that's more successful, the most successful era of Mizzou football, at least since the '60s. So it's weird that it's such a small fraction of that 230 number. I guess that prior to the '90s, the NFL had 12 round drafts. So
like they had 17 and 21 round drafts, like in the 30s. So yeah,
it's kind of like the baseball draft where everybody gets get drafted out of high school if you really wanted to. So that makes a little more sense.
I mean, the NFL was building, then the war, like they were just throw dudes at it. Like we'll get there. So yeah, they've reared it back a little bit, but yeah, that's the number's the number, man. Okay, this one I think you're going to have a better shot at. I gave you a really tough one up front. This one's going to be a little bit more fun, and I think you can do a better job. I want you to name the last player drafted at each position. Okay, let's start with quarterback. Do you know the last Missouri Tiger drafted quarterback into the NFL draft? Do you know who that is?
Drew Lock, I believe.
Bingo! Bonus points. Do you know the team and the round?
He was drafted in the second round by the Broncos.
Hey, look at this guy. He doesn't need sleep.
that was only like what 7 years ago. So I should.
It was 2019. Yeah, it was 2019.
6 years.
Okay. Last Missouri Tiger drafted at running back.
Drafted at running back. Oh well. No. Beatty was drafted by the Ravens, wasn't he?
You got it. And by the way, sir, it's Bidet.
Oh yes, Bidet. he just saw everyone buying bidets during COVID and thought it sounded fancy.
Got to get on it. You're right. Yeah, Tyler Beatty was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, round 6, pick 196 in 2022 draft. So very good. Okay, this one tougher than I thought it was going to be. Last wide receiver drafted. Go.
Ooh, is that Jamon Moore by the Packers?
My goodness. Are you? Look at this guy. He's a freaking monster. All right, fancy guy. Green Bay Packers, but what round?
Fourth. I just remember being pleasantly surprised for him at that pick. So.
Mr. Wikipedia over here. You're right. 2018 wide receiver Jamon Moore. Tight end. Who we got?
That'd be drafted at probably Albert O by the Broncos?
It was. Do you remember the round?
Third round?
Close. Round 4.
Fourth round. Okay.
That was the 2020 NFL draft. All right. Last offensive lineman. You should know this one.
Oh, well, that would have been Javon Foster, wasn't it?
You got it.
Like the fifth round. As far as the team, I could not. Somebody wants me to say the Bears, but that doesn't sound right.
Well, that would be Larry Bourne, who was before Foster, the last one. But Javon Foster was chosen by the Jacksonville Jaguars in round 4, pick 114 last year. So very good. Defensive lineman. Let's hear it.
That would be Darius Robinson by the Cardinals in the first round of last year.
You got it. Linebacker.
Tyron Hopper, third round Packers 2 years ago. No, was it last year? 2 years ago.
Just a monster. Defensive back. And as a hint, you have one of 3 answers here.
Right. So all 3 of Rakestraw, Carlisle, and Abrams Drain were taken last year. Let's see. Rakestraw was second round to the Lions. Abrams Drain was 5th or 6th round to the Broncos. And Carlisle was 5th round to the Colts.
6th round to the Colts. But
6th round of the Colts.
they were Carlisle and Drain were within 2 picks of each other. So Drain was at the end of 5th. Carlisle was at the beginning of the 6th. So yeah. Now here's the toughest one. I saved it for last. The last specialist drafted in the NFL. If you get this, I'm going to give you $1.
Like specialist, you mean like kicker, punter,
kicker, or punter,
long snapper,
or
long snapper? Was Bo Brinkley? Did he get drafted?
He was undrafted. I checked.
That would have been my guess. That would have been. This probably would have been way before I started following Mizzou.
Hint. We were not alive.
Yeah,
we were not alive.
I couldn't even tell you a name of kickers pre-19 or really pre-2003.
Yeah. So the last Missouri specialist drafted in the NFL was downtown Henry Brown. The kicker in 1970 went to the New England Patriots. Round 10, pick 239.
Well, good for
just rolling it.
You.
Just rolling it.
Hopefully, you throw some of that big time 1970s NFL money at the program at some point.
Please, God, yes. All right. So here's a fun one. Nathan Hurst. How many Missouri Tigers have been drafted in the 1st round?
How many total?
Total.
This is, since the number of total drafts is way higher than I thought this, I guess the number might be higher than my initial thought too.
Would you like multiple choice?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
A, 18, B, 21, C, 24, D, 27.
I'm going to go between 21 and 24. I'll go 24.
It's 21.
21
first round draft picks. Since 2000, how many have we had? You might get this one.
24
count them up?
total. Since 2000. Was Justin Smith in 2000?
It was 2001. You got it.
So then probably not another one till 07 would have been. We had Macklin would have been one. I don't know if he was the next one on the list or not. I feel like we're starting with, then we got a bunch of defensive ends. So Shane Ray was Alden Smith. There's 2 more defensive ends. I'm not going to name them all specifically, but I'll add 2 more defensive ends to that list. So that's.
Well, we just talked about one. The guy who was drafted last year.
Darius Robinson. So 3 more, I guess. I'm thinking of Charles Harris.
Yep.
And then no, because Michael Sam wasn't first round. So I guess I would go with those. That's 6 we're at right now.
That's 6.
And then Blaine Gabbert was 7. First round. Any more than after that? Willie Moe.
No, Willie Moe was not a first
second round. Was Weatherspoon first round?
He was 19th pick. That's 8.
Yeah.
You're missing a big one.
Was it a big one for?
He returned punts, and he played defensive tackle.
Oh, Sheldon Richardson, yes.
Sheldon Richardson, yep. Yes. And you got one more to go. And as a hint, he was on the same draft class as Jeremy Macklin on the other side of the ball.
Ziggy Hood.
Ziggy Hood, he got it. It's 10. Good job, bud.
10, okay, since 2000.
Right. 10 since 21 since 1939, but 10 since 2000.
And there'll be at least one more this year because Mimbu is definitely going to. Minus some Larry Tunsil craziness, will go in the first round this year, and then, at least one more, if not 2.
Yeah,
so hopefully 2 to make it 12.
We'll see. Okay, I don't know how to phrase this one. There's one way I could ask it, and it would be impossible. There's another way I can ask it, and I think you might get it. So I'm going to do it this way: the 1943 and 1981 NFL drafts featured the most Missouri Tigers selected in a single draft ever, tied with the same number. Do you know How many Missouri Tigers were drafted in those classes?
Oh my God. No.
1943,
Yeah.
1981. Take a wild guess.
I'm gonna go like 8.
Boy, you are so close. It's 7 each.
7. Wow, that's actually 8 even felt low. I got 7. Okay.
Yeah.
And they had 6 last year, so I got pretty darn close last
Pretty
year.
close. Yeah, pretty close. Don't think they're going to hit that this year, but
No.
well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, here's a fun one. The 2007 Missouri Tigers. Considered one of the greatest Missouri Tigers teams of all time. But how many guys from that team that were just on the roster were drafted? Do you know?
From 2007?
From the 2007 roster.
That were drafted. So Macklin's 1, Hood is 2. There would have been Alden Smith wasn't on that roster yet, was he?
Nope.
Willie Moe,
Mm-hmm.
Sean Weatherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of the other defensive players. I don't think any of the cornerbacks got drafted that year. Was Sean Egney or Michael Egney wasn't on that roster, was he?
He was not. No.
Chase Kaufman.
This is just being drafted. So yes, Chase Kaufman.
Chase Kaufman and the other tight end that cannot remember his name now. How I'm not remembering.
T.
Rucker, Martin Rucker. That's of course. Yeah, he was drafted by the Cowboys. I remember being very happy about that, and then he just probably never saw the field.
These last 3 are going to be really tough.
There's 3 more. Okay,
there's 3 more.
So most likely they would have been drafted later on. They may not have even seen the field that year.
They saw the field. They just didn't see the field in the NFL.
Yeah. I saw the field in 2007, though.
They did. Yes. So if you're keeping track at home, it's 9. The answer is 9 Missouri Tigers were drafted from the 2017. Okay. You have listed all of them except for 3. Heading into the 2007 season, there was a lot of hype for a Missouri receiver. It was not Jeremy Maclin. Who was the receiver that they were hyping up?
Coffey?
No.
The
helicopter.
He didn't get drafted anyway. Oh, Willie Franklin. He was drafted by the Chiefs, wasn't he?
He was that year.
Wow, Franklin. Helicopter Franklin. Yes. Mm-hmm. I forgot that he was drafted.
You got 2 more. They're both on the line. They are unheralded guys that put in some work.
Oh God, that offensive line was Tony Palmer wasn't still on that line, was he?
Tony Palmer was drafted in 06.
Adam Speaker.
Nope. Who's the meanest mofo who led the team off the bus?
I don't remember.
Colin Brown.
Oh yeah, that guy was huge. I remember how huge that guy was. Saw him walking around campus a lot. He's like 6'7".
Former walk-on who made it onto the team and was a nasty right tackle. Yeah. He was last guy, one of the greatest names in Missouri football history. Line player, defensive line.
Oh, Ziggy. Well, I said Ziggy Hood already.
Ziggy Hood, yeah. First sack was of Vince Young in 2005.
Was Lorenzo Williams?
Nope.
He wasn't. I don't think he was ever drafted.
Nope.
Striker Sulak.
Yes. Yeah, baby.
Yes. I forgot that he was drafted too. There's a lot of guys I forgot were drafted.
Just remembering some dudes, man. This is all Striker Sulak, who was my friend. I had another friend named Nathan because I only have friends with people who share my name. He was his next door neighbor, and they got to play. They played college football, the video game, with each other all the time. And he would always play Baylor. Striker Sulak. It was weird. So there you go. Okay, so that was 2007. 9 Missouri Tigers were drafted from the 2007 Missouri Tiger roster. Pretty dang good. But then there's another team called the 2013 Missouri Football Tigers, also considered one of the greatest teams of all time. How many Tigers on that roster ended up getting drafted? You can either name them out or you can take a guess at the number, but we're going to go through them all. So what do you think?
2013.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. So definitely at least 2 on the offensive line. Three. Evan Bain would have been drafted. Justin Britt would have been drafted. And Mitch Morse would have been drafted. That's 3. Maybe even 4. Was Connor McGovern on that team? Yeah, so 4.
Mm-hmm.
So 4. That's great. That offensive line was disgusting. 4 guys you drafted off that line. Then we got DGB was drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Was Marcus Lucas drafted?
He was not.
I think he was not.
No.
I feel like there was another receiver on that team that
there was.
was LaDainian Tomlinson.
Nope.
LaDainian Washington. That's the name I'm looking for. He wasn't drafted either, even though he was like the best guy. He was the best dude on that team. Best receiver.
He was. He was. The other receiver from the 2013 roster only had an okay 2013. His family's named after alcoholic beverages.
I'm losing it.
3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Do you remember Bud Sasser?
Oh, yeah, of course, Bud.
This Bud's for you.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Rams. That's right. He was drafted by the Rams, and then had terrible. Like, found out he had a heart issue, I believe. And
he did. Yeah. Went into coaching. Yeah. So that's 6.
And then, went into law school is what he did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
And then, so that's on the offense. I don't think there's anyone else on the offense.
You're missing one.
Well, it's not offensive line because Max Copeland didn't get drafted, sadly.
Yeah.
Well,
you've gone through offensive line and receivers.
Yeah. Running back. I mean, Marcus Murphy. Did he get drafted?
Marcus Murphy.
He did get drafted. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Marcus Murphy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then on the other side, Shane Ray and Michael Sam, and was Charles Harris was on that team, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
He didn't play much, but that year. But so that's 3. Kentrell Brothers was on that roster.
It's clutch, man. Oh my God, I'm surprised he got that one.
He didn't. I don't think he even played. He never played that year.
He didn't play.
He was really, really good 2 years later. There's another linebacker that was on that. What's his name? Donovan Newsom.
Donovan Newsom was not.
He wasn't on that team.
No, he was on the team. He was not drafted.
Am I thinking of a different linebacker who was drafted by the Titans? There was a linebacker on that team that was drafted by the Titans.
That was Xavier Gooden, who was in 2012.
Xavier Gooden. Oh, it was the year before. That's what I was thinking of. Before.
What about the almost MVP of the Super Bowl for the Carolina Panthers?
Oh, Coney Ely, of course.
Ely, yeah.
Yeah, that defensive line was just so stupid. Coney Ely, yep. Secondary. Was Arion Penton drafted?
Nope. He was the year after. He wasn't drafted.
And he was the year. He was the year after. I'm having a hard time remembering who was in that secondary.
Well, you're missing a big one from the secondary. Locked down the greatest receiver of all time from Texas A&M.
I've lost it.
EJ Gaines.
EJ Gaines. He was drafted.
He was drafted.
He was good. He was good.
In the 6th round by the Rams.
Yeah. Okay. I remember him being good and then feeling like he was underrated. So, and he actually, now that we're thinking about it, we're talking about it. Yeah, he actually got on the field for the Bills at some point in his career. Not very long, but he did have a cup of coffee.
So you got 13, and spoiler, there's one more, and we've already talked about him, but I think you're going to forget because he didn't actually play. But Jamon Moore was on that team.
Yeah, he would have been a red shirt that year.
So that had 14. 2013 had 14 guys drafted from that roster. Yeah.
Crazy.
And almost damn near the entire offensive line. So that's pretty good. Okay. We're heading down the home stretch here. I promise we're going to let you out. Now we get to do it by coaches. How many Gary Pinkel players got drafted in the NFL from Missouri? You want multiple choice?
No, I'm just going to throw a ballpark. He was here for 15 years. Let's say average of. I'm going to say 42.
Man, you are close. That was 39. Okay. 39 guys. How about Barry Odom? How many Barry Odom players got drafted?
Meaning
you can't say zero.
Players that he recruited or that played under him.
How many players who hold on, I got my phrasing here. The number of draft picks that played for head coach Barry Odom.
So there'll be some overlap there between Pinkel and Odom, and probably Odom and Drinkwitz as well. 13.
12. Good Lord. I can't believe you got so close. Holy crap. And then so far, as of March 16th or April 16th, how many draft picks that played for head coach Eli Drinkwitz? How many?
So we got 5 years. They had 6 last year. I think there's a year there they didn't have any, or maybe just one. So I'm gonna go 14. No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, is that right? 14?
You got it. Just stop talking. 14. 14 and counting, obviously. Yeah, very good. All right. And then my last one. What's the number of transfer players to Missouri that have been drafted out of Missouri?
In all of Missouri history.
All of Missouri history.
Though prior to like 2018, that really wasn't transfers weren't really a thing.
I was going to say, you don't really need to worry because I went back and checked, and you're really going back to like 2019. So
yeah. Probably like, I got Tyron Hopper. Just one? Just Tyron?
Keep going.
You're counting for me. Thinking of other guys. I'm blanking on anybody else, but I'm gonna think there has to be more. I'm gonna say 3 have been drafted.
That is a tremendous answer because 3 is the answer. You got Tyron Hopper. He came to Missouri from Florida. He was a third round pick, 91st overall, Green Bay Packers last year. There's 2 more. I'm going to give you – no, I'm not going to give you anything. You tell me. Think back to transfer players since 2019 who were good. There's not a lot of them.
Big caveats.
Good enough to get drafted.
Yeah. Not really any offensive linemen that got drafted.
Nope.
No, I mean Kelly Bryant didn't get drafted, so
nope. Although he does play arena ball.
Wide receivers in Theo was.
That's no offensive players, if that helps.
No offensive players. That does help. We got Tyron and I'm just my brain is dead, so I'm completely blanking on who might have been drafted off of like the 21.
Think about maybe 2 players we pulled from, I don't know, a school called Tulsa.
Oh, yes.
Any of them got drafted?
Yeah, Caleb Evans. Yes, Caleb Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Was drafted, so that's 2. And then was the other one the second one? I can't even remember his name now. Was he drafted?
Allie Green was not drafted.
Yeah, no. I don't think so.
The third one that you're thinking of actually got drafted. Hold on, let me double check. Yes, he got drafted pre-COVID.
So out of 2019.
The eyes of Texas are upon you.
Oh, yes. Jordan Elliott.
Jordan Elliott. There you go. Yeah. 2020.
Yes. Okay.
So there you go.
And he's still in the league. He's still playing.
He is. Browns, right? Is that where he's at?
Yeah, I think he's still there.
Damn. Wild. Good job, Nathan Hurst. You did it. You got through it. That was a hell of a quiz.
I don't feel like I embarrassed myself, but I
No, you did not. No,
don't know
you
if I
didn't.
did.
You
Don't know
didn't
if I
shower yourself in glory, but you did not embarrass yourself. It's okay. You nailed the last ones though, man. Like the last position class, you got it. So yeah, you're rock and roll, rock and roll. And we're going to add to the list next week, so it's going to be even better. And we'll do this. We'll do this test some other time. But yeah, overall, that's where we're at. Hope you all had fun listening to that, and maybe you have the answers too. But yeah, how are you feeling? You excited about the draft? I don't get excited about the draft anymore. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm never excited about the draft. It's a thing. I was excited. I take that back. I was excited in my undergrad days when I had fun getting together with buddies and buying at least 800 wings and eating them all day. I do miss the fact that the draft is no longer on one full Saturday where you can just binge on horrible food and alcohol and just want to die by the end of it. Those were the days, the halcyon days.
It's part of the fun. Yeah.
Right. Now you gotta tune in for three separate days, and it's too much.
That's way too much, but gets to the same place. So best of luck to our Missouri boys who could possibly get drafted into the NFL. Hopefully they all hear their names heard and they're all happy and they make $1 billion and all that good stuff. But you know what? That's going to be the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment or you can rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter at Matt H. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hurst. And of course, you can follow the Rock M flagship at Rock M Nation and our podcasting outlet at Rock M Radio. And if you mess around with Blue Sky, we're all over there as well. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.